Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to another Webinar Wednesday. I'm Stephen Phelps. I'm the Marketing Manager for Acumen, and I'm here with the Account Management Team, along with our Managing Partner, Nick Nabosny. Our Sage 300 engineer won't be able to join us today, but we still have a lot to cover, and we'll be going over what's new in Sage 300 Release 2020 and 2020.1. This webinar should be around 30 minutes, but if we have extra time, we'll go over a few questions near the end of the presentation. And with that being said, I will now pass it on to Nick.
Thank you, Stephen, and we wish the best to Renee. Her brand new baby decided to come today, and she was going to try to do this from the hospital, but we said, no, I focus on more important things. So we'll cover the 2020 releases here for her. So, okay, so our agenda this afternoon, this morning, depending on where you are, is talk about kind of two different releases. One is a full release of 2020.0. That's the full upgrade of the product. Talk about what's new in product update 1, which has just been released. And then we'll talk about, we'll jump over to Sage 300 and really show that and let you take a look at some of these new features. Now, in 2020, they really focused on web screen improvements. So there's multiple tabs now, so you can launch different companies. You can use different tabs to have different parts of the software open at the same time. So again, making the web screens easier to use and much more user friendly. They fixed a big problem, not that it was a problem for everyone, but a big problem where the web screens didn't allow any special characters. So different currency codes and unsupported languages for some of our clients that are multinational. There's a kind of a big problem there. They have now finally finished the payroll employee time card web screen for both the US and Canada, which is quite nice because a lot of people had to have employees log into Sage 300 and get to the desktop to enter a time card. Now we can expose a web screen to do that where they can log in, enter their time, and just log out. With each new kind of release of CRM and Sage 300, they are kind of bringing the integration closer, and they're improving it, quite frankly. They've also redone some of the 300 online help. So when I go in and launch the help, they've added quite a bit of substance there, allowing you to find some information that you need a lot easier. So, the first one we talked about is opening the multiple companies from the same browser. So there is a tool out there where you're able to post requirement enhancements or things that you'd like to see in the product. And if you want to get a link to that or want to find that, just let us know, let your account manager know, and we'd be happy to send you a link to that. But there was a huge bunch of posts about users wanting to open multiple companies. And what you had to do in the first release was use different browsers, which means maybe Microsoft Internet Explorer for one, Google Chrome for another, because if you had two companies in Chrome, you're using two licenses. And they fixed that because that was silly, quite frankly. And now you can do multiple companies in the same browser. So we have lots and lots of clients that do have multiple drop-down databases or companies, and now you can actually do that using tabs in your browser, which is a pretty nice way to navigate. So again, the solution was to allow the users to use the same browser and really improve customer experience. We talked about the special characters, Chinese characters, different currency symbols. Some of them were not supported. So we had, not every client had this issue, but some of our larger clients and certainly some of the multinational clients had some big problems with kind of using or moving to the web screens because hopefully some of you will like the web screens. A lot of you will like them as we show them later on, but there were some kind of problems getting there or going to there. So Sage is focused on fixing those, and they fixed all those problems. And now we're, the adoption rate in other regions is growing significantly. Again, the payroll time card is now on the web, so you can go in and give the employee a tablet. They can launch it from their phone. They can do it anywhere they have internet. Log in, enter their time on the timesheet. You can expose just that one screen if you'd like to, and it really allows the payroll customers to do, to have a lot of added value, and again, improve kind of the cloud or the web screens. Now in 2020.1, which is a product update, so not a full release, but a release of some enhancements to the 2020 version, they've released really kind of three things. One of them I think is very, very big for all customers, and then the other two are very important for customers that are using what we call an ISV. You may know that as a third party. Those are those bolt-ons that are written by non-Sage vendors that look like Sage, that feel like Sage. Well, they've enhanced the web screens so that the other vendors can finish working on theirs. So again, you can then move to the web screen if you have a product like Technosoft or Orchid or Pyrox. You'll be able to move to the web screens because they can have their web screens done and you can live in one space. You don't have to jump back and forth to the classic desktop. But the one at the top, multiple contacts, we're going to cover this in the demo certainly, but you can actually have multiple contacts now for customers and vendors. And when I go into that tab and set up a different contact, I can say which different forms from Sage should automatically go to this particular contact. Again, I'll go ahead and show that. So, the problem was you really got stuck with one in there, right? And when you were syncing with CRM, did that one get synced over, or should it get synced over? A lot of times clients are putting in a generic contact there, so it didn't make sense to have it in CRM. So now they decided they'll make a multiple contact module, so you can have as many records as you need to. You can have them be shared, so they're going to be at the common services level rather than just in AR, which means there could be a contact at a customer and a vendor that's the same person, same email address. You can also have a contact that's assigned to multiple customers, if that makes sense. So again, just kind of visually looking at that, before, you had just the one contact, right? And we've all seen that. That's at the contact tab of the customer and the vendor. Now you can say, okay, I have a marketing director, I have an admin, I have an accounts receivable clerk, I have a controller, CFO, purchasing agent, all with individual contact details, including emails, and I can send forms or reports to those people automatically when they're produced from Sage. So Office 365 integration is another feature of 2020.1. This is just a kind of a quick look at it here, where those contacts now may be sending you emails, or you may be sending them emails. Well, inside of Outlook in Office 365, you can see on the right-hand side, it will recognize that this is a Sage contact and pull up some information about them. If it's a customer, you can see their balance, their credit limit, their available credit. I can see the history. I can look at individual transactions if I want to, any notes or memos about that particular customer. And then the same thing is true for vendors, just on the other way, any payments, any transactions, or anything like that. So that's going to be I think a really, really popular thing, because a lot of our clients, more and more are adopting Office 365. And if I can have some good information from my accounting system in there, I may not need users for accounting. I may have the sales team just have this connection and kind of see some information about their customers out there, but not necessarily need to log into the system. And as we said, the improvements to the web API, the ability to allow third-party vendors to connect to the Sage data. They're constantly working on that with the web screens. They're trying to get to the point that they've had on the classic desktop for years and years and years, where the third-party vendors can do some really fantastic add-ons for us. for you guys. And, it looks and feels just like Sage 300. Well, they're trying to get to that same place with the new web screens, again, to increase the adoption of those web screens and, allow the users to have the nice new web screen technology. So Sage is really, just a point that they're continuing to invest in kind of our hybrid cloud strategy. So they're constantly working with focus groups and things like that to review screens. Let's go through order entry. Let's go through posting a journal entry, and I'll show some of these when we get to the demonstration. But they're constantly getting feedback about the web screen. So if you want to, as you guys, as clients and users start to adopt them and use them, please feel free to let us know what you like, what you don't like, and we'll certainly bring that back to Sage. I sit on the Sage 300 Product Advisory Council, so I meet with the head person at Sage in charge of Sage 300 every single month, and I'm more than happy to bring any feedback that I get from our customers and our clients, directly to Sage, so that you have a voice in what you think the screen should do, or what's missing, or what you'd like to see added in a future release. So just an example of that, the very first kind of launch of the web screens, there was a lot of space taken up for labels, browser icons. If I want to go to AP, then it kind of flies out for AP, then the next level of transactions. So that was kind of the first version, and people say, well, that takes up kind of way too much room there. So they said I kind of shrunk it down here to be kind of browser icons, and then it only flies out if I kind of hover over that, so I can quickly get to the section I want and back to doing my my transactions. So, what is the value of all that? Well, really allowing you to have a modernized user interface, allowing you to not allowing you to expose it to the internet if you'd like, but you don't even certainly have to do that to take advantage of them. But I like to say it allows for mobility in the office. We have clients that are using the web screens on a tablet to do physical inventory counts, because you can actually walk around with the connected tablet. You may not want to walk around and post accounts payable invoices all day. You probably like to sit at your keyboard and do that because it's much more efficient, but using the web screen, you can do that there. You could also pull one up at the house, just log in and see what's going on with one if you needed to. So it's just allowing you flexibility and mobility in the office, and certainly outside of your office if there are people connecting in remotely. So again, giving you options. So, okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the Sage 300 solution then, and take a look at some of the web screens. And this may be the first time some of you have seen the web screens, so I'm going to go in and kind of just talk about some of them before we spend a lot of time on some of the new features. But so as you can see here, I go into a web browser. I'm using Google Chrome here, but I can use any web browser. I can also have multiple browsers where I can pick different companies and log in at the same time. So that's one of the new features that we just talked about. And you'll see here in the web screen that the same list of companies that you have here in the Sage Classic Desktop at the login screen will show up automatically there. Same security, same users. You don't have to do any resetups or any of that to make that happen. Always takes a second when I'm sharing, of course. Okay, so the first thing you might notice is I log into a very nice home screen, right, where I can have some different types of widgets that are very nice and visual, where I can look for, top customers, certain inventory items. I might be watching balances for certain accounts, and I can go in and edit the settings and select which accounts I want. I can hit the finder, all the same things you're used to in the classic desktops are all there. The finders, the same accounts. It's all Sage 300 just produced or shown in a web screen. So There are some limitations, for kind of this first release, or well, probably about the second or third release now, but the widgets are limited to what they have here. But as some more third-party vendors start to connect in and add their products to these, we'll start to see some other widgets that are available. And then we're also going to be able to do some editing of these. I can hover over them and see the information that's in each of the different sections if I'm using charts and things like that and what the values are, but they're not clickable yet. Again, I can't really just edit them. I can't make my own widgets yet, but all of that is, hopefully coming in the near future. Now, along the left, I have all the modules that I would have turned on in my classic desktop. So if I wanted to go into General Ledger, I can go into GL Transactions, and I can open up Journal Entry here. I can say, okay, let's go ahead and select a particular batch here. And I can see my Journal Entry transaction. I can flip through lines, I can flip through entry numbers. So everything that, again, that you have in your classic desktop is here now in your web screens. So kind of that's the first thing is the web screens have gotten much cleaner from the first release we saw a few years ago. In fact, we didn't even really tell too many clients about it in the very first release because they were just not buggy so much as you had to scroll and scroll and scroll forever. So they've done a really good job of cleaning all of that up. On the right-hand side now, they've added the ability to kind of navigate through things. So it keeps track of your most recently used windows. So if I wanted to jump over to order entry here, I can go ahead and do that, directly from my kind of most recent window here. I can set up favorites for reports. I can look at inquiries here. So if I wanted to look at AP payment inquiries or AR customer transactions that are fully paid, GL account transactions for a specific account. So there's a lot of nice kind of newer technology where I can pull some information and look at things much faster and kind of, again, navigate the things in the system. Global search is still here. So if I look for, Bargain Mart, I can find everything that has Bargain Mart. Is it a customer? Is it a specific transaction? And I can kind of page through and see everything. And again, this is clickable, which is kind of nice. So I can drill into that particular customer, see any notes I have, look at their credit status, or whatever the case might be, and see what's going on with that particular customer. So again, using some of that newer technology, we're so used to being able to do a global search and just look for anything we want. They've brought all of that into the system here. Now, the help screens, again, it is context sensitive, so it knows that I have the AR customer screen open. So they've brought a lot of good information here into the web screens, like we have in the classic desktop. So again, I can look at every field and see what should go in the address tab and see what's really available to me over there, what each field should be, and what it suggests. So they've done a really nice job again of getting all of the help information out into this web screens so that I can easily navigate it and find the things that I want. Payroll time cards, as we said, are now available on the web. So I can pull up a particular time card. I can go in and edit, columns. I can move things around now, which I couldn't do in previous versions. So I can resize things just like the classic desktop. If I want to go in and find a particular old one, it looks like I've processed payroll, so all mine are gone at the moment, but I can go in and set up a new time card and add a line for this particular day, add my earnings code if I want to, and put in my time for that particular person for that day. So Again, I can expose this so someone can come in, just do that on a web page. They can do that from home. They can do it on a tablet that's kind of at the door if you want to, that just has Wi-Fi and it's not connected to the network with cables or anything like that. Okay, let's talk about, to finish up here, we'll talk about the multiple contacts. And let's start with customers here for a moment. So multiple contacts is a 2020.1 feature, and that is something that you would have to activate. So what we have to install a full product update, and it will be part of data activation. So we do have to get all the users out for a little bit of time to turn that on. And what's going to happen then is when I look at a particular customer now, I'll see that the contacts tab here has changed. Oops, I want to go back to Sample Company Inc. Sorry, where I've set all that up. That's why I color code them so I know. And we'll go into customers and we'll look at Bargain Mart here. And on the contact tab, I'm just going to go ahead and maximize this for now. You can see that I'm no longer limited to just one contact here. So I might have a code that I assign where it's the customer number and the position, AP, controller, sales, marketing, whatever the case might be. You can create your own codes as you want to, but what I can do is I can go in and say, all right, this particular person, the AP person, is going to get all of our AR invoices that go out and also the AR statements, and she has asked for copies of the order entry confirmations and invoices as well. Maybe she doesn't care about those, but she certainly wants credit notes. The controller is interested in just maybe AR statements, and sales is interested in confirmations, invoices, debit notes, and quotes that we send from the system. So now, as you're going through and printing out your forms, just like you do every day today, when I go print them, it's going to look up and say, okay, I'm going to use whichever contact is assigned to get the invoices. So if I print AR invoices and send it to the delivery destination for the customer, only this particular person is going to get that. If all three of them have it, all three are going to go ahead and get that. And I know we have lots of clients out there that have requested that and wanted that type of feature. That also really helps with, again, the integration with CRM, right? Because there is, now meaningful connections to CRM where I'm not stuck with just that one contact, which didn't really match to anything in CRM because it was very generic. So with that, we'll go ahead and kind of open it up for some questions and, see if there's anything that I can help answer. I'm going to feel free to put them in the chat because all of the lines are muted in the webinar here, but we'll go ahead and open up chat and also Q&A. Okay, we do have one question here. When will the next product update be available? Okay, good question. So the next one is scheduled. So we don't always guarantee that, of course, because this is the software world and things do happen in QA testing and things like that. But that's due out in April. That's going to add some enhancements to that Office 365 integration that we looked at, continued improvement in the web screens, and a few new features to kind of other areas as well. Another question is, are there multiple contacts in accounts payable as well? Yes is the answer. So the vendors will have multiple contacts just like customers here. And what's really nice is contacts is actually now part of common services, because a contact can be a customer and a vendor here. So they are set up here in the common services area because they can flow to different modules. Question is, are there enhancements to inventory reporting? Nothing specific, big changes to inventory reporting that I'm aware of, but certainly if, shoot us an email with any specifics or questions that you have, and we're happy to kind of drill into that and see if there's something else we can have or other suggestions we can make, but nothing wildly different about the inventory kind of canned reports in 2020. I've received an email from Sage about downloading the new 2020 version. Should I proceed forward? What should be my next steps? I would highly recommend that you reach out to kind of support or to your account manager to help with them, because these are full upgrades. Even the product update, you have to kick people out. You do have to test things. And because not all of the third-party products are available, so you may want to wait till everything you have turned on is working in that version. We certainly do all that testing. We keep a list and keep track of, there's probably about 300 to 400 different applications out there, and we keep track of what's compatible with what as new releases come out. So I would highly recommend that you guys just give us a heads up, and we can kind of schedule that and help you through that upgrade process. Do we have anything new in the general ledger for 2020? Not for 2020, 2018, 2019, there were a few different changes to some of the reports there. The global search came out, but 2020, nothing new for GL. It's more web screens, kind of user interface, look and feel, and then enhancing the contacts, the CRM integration, bringing quotes and orders into CRM much easier. Any other questions? Feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A section. Okay, well, I don't see anything else coming in, but as always, please feel free to reach out to us at am@acumenfl.com or give us a call. If you do have another question or want to talk about a certain feature in a bit more detail, we're here to help. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you on another Webinar Wednesday by Acumen. Thanks and have a great day.